Come out to the bar.
Hello YouTube, cheers and welcome to The Basement. My name is Bruce Lively.
And I'm D-Boy Slim.
And The Basement, you know what, man? I can't. This is The Basement Debates. Today is not really a debate, it's a discussion, man. Yet again, for the 22nd time this year alone, another high school been shot up by yet another 17-year-old. 9 kids dead, 1 teacher. And we're going to have a discussion about that. We're going to get into T.I. in a little bit too. That's the intro. You go ahead and just talk for a little bit about it, man.
Well, I don't really have a lot on the shooting, the school shooting. I just was privy to that maybe a few minutes ago. So we'll definitely get back to that and elaborate and give you our thoughts.
Right now, as this is recording, it's still on the news. Like it's the morning right now still. So like by the time you see this, know that this is Friday morning right now.
But while we're recording, this is brand new.
Yeah,
this is brand new news. So excuse me, pardon me, but I don't really have a lot as far as what went on, and if that's the case though. It's tragic, nonetheless. It's happening all too often these days. We're becoming numb to it, which is kind of scary. The T.I. situation, that's still a brand new situation developing. From what we know, and Bruce has some interesting facts about what happened in that case. I'm sure half of you, if you've been on social media in the last day or two, have seen the footage of him actually in the police precinct and trying to talk to the officers. Wasn't really getting belligerent, but upset nonetheless, as you can understand. Someone of his wealth and prestige being locked up for something so minor and petty. And from that, it just looked like he was asking the arresting officer, what was he being charged with? Why was he even arrested and detained in the first place? And they didn't really have a clear black and white answer for him, which, would make any person upset because, this is money now and time and just inconvenience. It's embarrassing, somebody of that stature. Again, we're talking about T.I., so now, all of that comes with he's arrested again and locked up again or whatever. And from the looks of it and from the, what I've gathered as far as what he was charged for and what T.I. was actually asking the officer, if he did anything, if he was guilty of anything, it was trying to get to his house, or he was in his neighborhood or whatever where he had the right to be at, and the officer decided that he was being belligerent or disorderly or whatever the case. But it seems not like nonsense. I'm not going to go so far as to say racist, but it seems.
I will.
There's Bruce, but it just seems like a bunch of nonsense. He's in a gated community, which he affords the house and his family to be in, and it seems like he's being instead of being helped or assisted as he's supposed to, he's being what's the word, Bruce?
He's being harassed.
Targeted and harassed. Right.
Being harassed.
It looks like nonsense, and ironic it would be T.I. because we've seen T.I. in marches for Houston's and all type of marches as far as black speaking out.
I would say, don't you think that might have something to do with
Black lives? Well, the officer didn't know who he was. I would say that.
I think that's a lot.
I would say that.
The more I think about that, the more it sounds like you don't know who T.I. is.
I think the officer really
was
just that naive. I think he just didn't really. I think there's a disconnect with, and when you go to Alpharetta and some of these nicer homes and nicer communities,
True.
And I think he really was just that naive and not knowing who T.I. was. I would say that, like, he was targeted because
that kind of just came to my mind, but
him being outspoken as far as, you know, the Black Lives Movement and him taking stances against certain injustice and inequalities. But no, this is just a naive officer who didn't know who T.I. was and didn't know that he owns a mansion in this gated community. So.
Well, I'll tell you like this, man. When I tell you the facts about it, some of the facts that I happen to learn through other news sources, it becomes to me obvious that if he was white, those string of events wouldn't have happened like that.
Good point.
That's all I'm saying. But back to the shooting, 9 dead confirmed children under the age of 19. Who cares? Who cares? Stop lying. Who cares? Some more kids died? Oh well. Huh? Oh well. When they shot the kids, when they shot the little 5-year-old kids in the face, I thought for sure, you know what? Something gonna happen now. There's no way that we're gonna see these dead kids, 5-year-olds with the brains blowing out the back of their head, and we're not gonna do something about the gun problem in this country that makes so much money off of weapons, because it's the only thing that we export anymore, period. Who cares? Huh?
Disgusting.
I want my gun. I need my gun. How many more are gonna die before you have to say to yourself, maybe we can make some sacrifices on our own to maybe see our change? You don't give a fuck, and I don't want anybody, I want to hear it. I don't want to hear no more thoughts and prayers, and we're there with you. You're not there with me. Shut the fuck up. You're not there with me. Shut the fuck up. You're not there. You don't care, and nobody cares. Obviously, we don't care, and it's gonna happen again. That's what I gotta say about it. Next, T.I. T.I. He was reportedly, and I believe the reporting, drunk. Going home, because that's what you do when you're drunk. You don't stay out in public drunkenness, which can get you arrested or doing something stupid. You go home to your wife and kids and lay it down and drink some coffee.
I won't even use the terminology. I wouldn't use the terminology drunk. He may have been intoxicated.
He may have been intoxicated, but I'm gonna say it. The only reason why I say drunk is because
there's a legal level to intoxication. I don't think that was one of his charges.
No, it wasn't one of his charges. But I want to.
They claim that
the reason why I say that is because I'm giving every benefit of the doubt to the officer. The guy may have been drunk and may have been belligerent because you didn't let him in his house. I would have been belligerent if he didn't let me into my house. But he didn't have a key. So guess what? The officer has a right to say, my job is to stand at this post and not let anybody in who doesn't have a key.
Check it out, y'all.
I can't do that. But what I can do is call the house that you say you're going to and ask the person there if they're expecting you and if it's okay to let you in.
This is the part of the story that the major news networks haven't told you yet. Go ahead, boo.
Then they called the house. T.I.'s wife answered and said, let him in, and was a little bit harsh to the officer and said, let my husband in. What the hell are you doing?
That's it, as any good wife should.
Well, as any good wife of somebody who holds the key to the fucking city, I'm cursing today because of the gun shooting thing. I know y'all. Listen, man. I'm sorry. Listen. T.I. holds the key to the city. The mayor of Atlanta gave T.I. the key to the city, and he's a part of the new mayor's transition team. He's a part of the new mayor who just got elected transition team.
That's factual.
At the table. So it's not just he's a rich person or a rapper.
Translation, what does that mean and all? He's somebody that the higher ups in the city call upon when they want to talk to us.
Right. So the officer didn't know him. He should have been fired just for that. But anyway, fine. After the officer called the house, got the confirmation from the wife who's inside the house, turned around and told T.I. he still wasn't gonna let him in. At that point, I say, now that's racism. Because if that was a white guy, the minute that happened, he would have said, sorry, sir. Thank you, there you go. Excuse me, it's happened to all of us. I forgot the key code that somebody told me when I was going to a party. The officer called the house. They say, what's his name? They go, Bruce Lively. They go, okay. I show my ID, that's Bruce Lively, and I leave. And they tell me to go inside. Here it is, sir. This time, because he was offended, because this too rich for this nigger to be going there and living there, it's impossible. If that was a white guy and he called his wife and his wife said, what's wrong with you? Let him in, that's my husband. The door would have been opened and everybody here knows it. If you don't know it, you're fooling yourself for whatever reason it is. When we say things like white privilege, it doesn't mean that you, the white person, did something wrong. It doesn't mean that you believe in racism or that you're racist. All it means is that there's a set of circumstances where you get the benefit of the doubt that the black person can't get because of the color of his skin, and it has nothing to do with you doing wrong or right. We're not blaming you for anything. We're saying white privilege exists because of instances like this. And all of us need to work together to get rid of it. That's my rant for the day, people. It is about racism. The T.I. would be in his home, sleeping on his bed, drinking coffee, getting a little drunkenness out of him.
Listen,
if he was a lighter complexion.
We usually sit here and debate hip hop, but when relevant subject matters, especially pertaining towards us and our community, this big,
or the United States,
we're forced to talk about it and give our thoughts and our perspective on it. Excuse me. These are probably two of the most important and relevant subject matters in recent times there is. Here we speak about gun control and white privilege or lack of black equality, for lack of better words. The gun control thing, me and Bruce have had shows about this before, and my stance, I think we do need to take a look into the laws that surround people who get access to guns.
That's all we ask for.
I think there's some. I mean, if nothing else, we see it's clear that it's necessary that at least gets looked at. Like, at least we take a look inside of that. Maybe the laws that were already set. Obviously, there's something wrong. There's something not quite right. And I'm on the side and of the consensus that something does need to be done. Young innocent children getting killed.
After they shot the 5-year-olds, I thought for sure. Now I know that nothing will ever happen. Just the last time this happened in Florida, the poor kids who decided on their own, since the adults can't get their head out of their asses, since the adults can't get it done.
And what was that, Texas?
This was just Texas, San Jose.
Of that, because when my son,
where they love the gun.
When my son goes to school at now, it's gotten so ridiculous. And I'm not sure about your children, but they have drills in the school now.
Yeah, my child had a scare that somebody thought that they were coming.
Right, exactly.
And so they started to have drills.
I called the school one day and I said, because
they got a tip from somebody that somebody might be shooting school up.
Facts.
My kids.
I got a child. I have a child in school, and he has a cell phone, and he called his mother. Actually, he didn't call me. He called his mother and said, Mom, somebody's in the school. And so I was forced to call the school to make sure, like, what's going on. And I was told that it was just a drill. And I'm like, these are the like, we had fire drills and tornado drills when we was in school. We didn't have drills for intruders and terrorists and things of that nature, which I guess if they're saying that's the precaution that's necessary now because of everything that's been going on, okay, but I think it's sad and it's tragic how our children are having to go to school now. And I don't know if that per se is the answer, trying to beef up. And this is why I asked what part of the country that was, because in most schools now, I would think in most parts of the country,
they just had a drill at this school in San Jose a couple weeks before.
So it's doing nothing then.
It doesn't work. They also had an armed security guard at that school. It doesn't work. Listen.
There it is.
The Second Amendment is there for a reason. Fine. It was written when we had muskets, people, and cannonballs, people. That's fine. You don't want to. I hear you. All I'm saying is, when it happened in Florida, the kids decided on their own, since the adults don't care enough about them, because the NRA shows up there the exact next day, which is given the money by the gun companies to preach on their behalf and lobby on their behalf. We can't afford lobbyists. So the kids themselves said, well, let's go march and let's try to get at least someone to ask a question at the gun show. Let's go get someone to maybe do a background check. So insane people don't get it. Let's maybe just get it so if you're on the no-fly list, you can't get a gun. Maybe if you're underage, you have to go through some more hoops, unfortunately, because it's in the better interest of all of us. You're forced to wear your seatbelt. The law makes it so. The law also makes you have to buy insurance to drive a car. These are assaults on your civil liberties for the better good of everybody around you. And we accept it because we're not idiots. We're human beings that understand things. But because the NRA talking points has got you to the point where you can't see past your own nose until your kid gets shot, they're willing to call these 17-year-olds from Florida crisis actors. They call them they can't be real. It's a false flag operation. What about this one? And when these kids rise up and say, please help us. Please help us. Are you gonna call them actors too? I bet you will, because we don't give a shit. We don't care. Stop lying. I don't want your tears. Nobody wants your hearts, your prayers, your thoughts. Don't come down there with that bullshit. We don't care. Let them die. Another one's gonna happen tomorrow. It's already been 22 this year. We got shout outs.
Give us feedback. What do y'all think? And if you've heard more about this story of the school shooting in Texas, right?
Texas.
Please enlighten.
San Jose.
The T.I., give us your thoughts on that too. You know. And if you've heard anything more about that, let us know.
Cornelius Williams. He said it's different genres of rap now. Your boy Dolph is a trap music category, not the lyrical category, but he's still fire. And I think that's what we were trying to say is, just say that he's not the best rapper. Well, he may not be, but we were just talking about Jeezy and people like Gucci. Like there's a style that he represents that he's really good at. He doesn't have to be the best rapper.
Who we talking about?
Your boy Dolph.
Oh, well, yeah.
Cornelius Williams, thank you so much for that, man. Shout out to you. And also, we got a new subscriber, Shiloh Vanessa. Thank you, dude. Good to see you here. And that's the basement, people. Think about what we said. Just think about it, man.
We off this.
Peace.